For English subtitles, press the subtitle button located on your remote control or device. Hello and welcome to a brand new and exciting episode of ReptilTV, where we explore the fascinating world of reptiles. My intro animal for you, finally another ball python. We know that we really have thousands of ball python lovers in the community, just like me. I've shown you this one before. 1,000. It also runs under Canterball in part. Noah in Africa once had one which he named Canterball. We called it the VIP ball because of that. When we got the animal from Africa, it had VIP written on the bag, and that's how we adopted it. It is an unverified morph so far. As mentioned, it came from Africa, so it has a bit of piebald in it, but of course it is also quite different in some ways. So I believe calico or something like that is currently one of the rarest morphs among ball pythons. Of course, it is also the rarest because it has not been bred until now. That is why it is rare. I have news about it. A little surprise, but I won't reveal it just yet, or I can't reveal it yet. But in the coming weeks, there will be news about it, and that's why I wanted to present it again today as the intro animal. In 2021, we had already made a few top 5 episodes. I always find it quite exciting, and of course this is very much in line with the current zeitgeist, these top rankings and so on. We can't really escape that, and the idea or ideas often come from the community. There is often the question of what the most expensive animals were. We did a Ask Stefan episode, and the question was, what was the most expensive animal you ever sold? That's how I got the idea. That's why today we're doing the top 5 most expensive reptiles, not just with me, but overall. What are the top 5 most expensive reptiles? What I need to mention up front is that the value of a reptile can only be determined at the moment it is sold. Difficult to express, but it will be a reptile, an expensive reptile, whether it is, for example, a two-headed snake, just to name something. Once it is sold for a price, 6 months later, there is someone who wants it desperately and of course pays much, much more. Where, however, I find no customer again 6 months later who would pay even close to that amount. That's why this is, in my opinion, a challenging topic where I try my best to clarify based on my experiences. Normally, for the other top 5 things, I usually do my research on the internet. In this case, most of what I'm going to share today comes from my own experience or from my own animals or from animals that I may have sold or seen somewhere or heard about. So today I will try to create a top 5 ranking. In 5th place, I would place an Albino Galapagos tortoise. To my knowledge, it has not been sold at all, and to my knowledge, there is only one animal of this kind. It was bred in Switzerland at the Tropicarium about approximately 2 years ago, if I remember correctly. I believe that this animal, if they were to sell it, could really fetch a very good price. The goal, and I would estimate maybe beyond the euros, because there are only a few Galapagos tortoises and they are already expensive. You know, Galapagos giant tortoises grow to be enormous. This is truly a spectacular animal. And as an albino, I am sure that if it were sold, it would definitely have a place among these top 5. I would definitely place the remarkable Galapagos Iguanas in 4th place, as they are truly unique creatures. There is the unique marine iguana on Galapagos and the Galapagos land iguana. I wouldn't even say that one or the other deserves the spot. I would simply use the overarching term Galapagos Iguanas. They will certainly, even in their wild colors, we are not talking about any color mutations, but about the animal as it occurs in nature. 2001, the animals, when they are traded, such as the Galapagos land iguanas, subcristatus, will certainly be traded for an amount around euros, and the marine iguanas will likely achieve a similar price. Therefore, they are certainly among the top 4 of the most expensive, or within the top 5. But I have placed them in the top 4 for now. Then in third place, an animal that I have personally owned twice, which is a fascinating creature and is certainly worth beyond the euro as well. These are incredibly and truly remarkable Leucistic Nile monitors in its own right. I think I told you about the big one, Niels, that we had back in 2001. He passed away, he developed necrosis and bone changes, and then he died as an adult after a few years with me. Many years later, I got another baby and was super happy, and hey, it was great. And unfortunately, the baby passed away on me after a few months. It also developed sores and tumors. It would be easy to say now, well, that in fact had to do with the leucistic or the white color. I really can't imagine it. Leucistics also have black eyes, so they don't have light sensitivity or anything like that. But in fact, the animal, I can even say that I had a customer for it. The contract was already arranged. The animal was basically already sold. And then my colleague here, Sven, comes to me and says, hey, Stefan, look, what's going on with him? And then I have that for veterinarians, the photos, paintings. So it had some swellings in the throat area, firm swellings. I don't know, I would describe them as some kind of tumors. Within a short time, it became weak. You could tell it wasn't doing well. I would say that about 4 weeks later, the animal was dead. It's really indeed very sad and traumatic for the animal. In my case, to get back to the topic, such a Leucistic Nile monitor, a snow white Nile monitor, which also grows quite large and becomes well behaved, is certainly worth quite a bit. Therefore, in terms of value and overall significance, I would place them in third place. In second place, which most of you are probably waiting for, I would generally include the two-headed snakes. So you know, I actually once had the two-headed boa that I sold. Then there was a two-headed ball python, which I actually had many years ago. Interestingly, a few months ago, there was once again a two-headed ball python, but it did not end up with me. In general, I would say that indeed two-headed snakes, when they are really good and healthy, often have a bit of spinal curvature, or the heads are not clearly separated. These are certainly factors that play a role. How perfect is the animal? In other words, how physically flawless, impeccable, or error-free is the animal? This definitely plays a role in the price. But they are indeed traded at quite high prices because it is a sensation that the whole world is watching. And that's why I would definitely place it in second place. And now we undoubtedly come to first place. Surely you will now say, oh no, but I would have included that in the top 5, or maybe even in the first place. Or what I haven't considered now are, for example, bridge lizards, New Zealand bridge lizards, very rare usand, a very rare species of lizard, or the Australian thorn devil, which might also have belonged in the top 5. As I mentioned, the animals I talked about are ones for which I could roughly estimate the value. And then there are species where I can't really determine the value at all. Or with the bridge lizards where I think, well, you can't really get any. To my knowledge, it is almost impossible for animals to be sold there. That's why I don't even bring it up. As mentioned, please feel free to post below what you think about it. I welcome your thoughts, thumbs up or thumbs down regarding my ranking. I am really looking forward to your comments, and I hope you are excited about number 1. In my opinion, for the number 1 most expensive reptile species, I would place the Komodo dragon. Komodo dragon, indeed the largest lizard that exists on this planet. Huge animals. We made an episode about it, so I have never owned a Komodo dragon in my life, but I have at least had Komodo dragons on my arm, been able to pet them, touch them, and experience them. Truly gigantic animals, and many zoos around the world would love to have Komodo dragons as an attraction. This is simply an attraction. The largest lizard in the world and so on. I would estimate the value at around euros per animal. I would estimate or think that most people who are actively and enthusiastically looking for animals would certainly be more than willing to pay that specific amount, or maybe even more for them without hesitation. And that is precisely why the Komodo dragon ranks first for me. That was the episode about the most expensive reptiles. Some of you may be disappointed. And where are the ball pythons? There are indeed such expensive ball pythons. We are talking about the present time or even the future. Unfortunately, we have to see and say, so unfortunately for me as a ball python breeder, maybe 2001, I don't think we will be landing any more ball pythons. It would have to be something like a green ball python with two heads that is codominantly inherited, meaning that the two heads would ideally also be inherited or something like that. It would have to be something like that. I believe that the color variants that are available now will continue to include expensive ones, such as those that have a significant five-figure amount. But I can't imagine that we will ever see six-figure prices for ball pythons again. There have already been animals priced over $1,000. There was once this ivory ball python from Africa worth around dollars or something. We definitely won't achieve that anymore, and that's why there were no ball pythons among these top 5. Nevertheless, stay loyal to me and check out my balls even if they don't make it into the top 5. 2001